Hello and welcome to this updated video guide for completing the normal version of the Howling Eye in Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers. My name is TS, and in this video you'll learn everything you need to know to pitch a windbreak. Garuda Normal is actually super easy these days, so let's take a look. The main aspect of this fight revolves around the 4 stone pillars that sit in the middle of the room, as they serve to help you against some of Garuda's attacks. Now, there are 2 things to note about these pillars. Number 1 is that they can break line of sight for attacking and casting spells, and number 2 is that they actually have hidden health values, meaning they're able to be destroyed, but more on this later. Now then, as the tank, pull Garuda and face her away from the group as she has a couple of frontal attacks. You should try and keep her positioned on the very edge of the area, as some of her standard attacks are large enough to hit the pillars behind. However, with how easy this fight is nowadays, you don't really need to worry too much about this. You don't have a ton to do in this fight as a tank, but you should keep an eye out for a spellcast called Slipstream. This is a frontal attack that will hit relatively hard and stun you for 2 seconds. While there is no AoE indicator on the ground for this move, you can actually avoid it if you just move out of Garuda's line of sight. So if you see her casting this, just move to her side and move back afterwards. Anyway, shortly into the fight, Garuda will vanish and reappear close to where she originally spawns. At this time, everyone should move behind one of the stone pillars to break line of sight with the boss. Garuda will cast a move called Mistral Song, which will shoot out in front of her, dealing fairly high damage to anyone caught in the open. While I have seen even newlies eat these attacks and live, this is super easy to avoid, so you shouldn't have any problems doing so. Once Mistral Song is done, run back and continue the fight as normal, though tanks may need to reposition her slightly to the edge again. Straight away, Garuda will summon a number of Razor Plume adds on herself which need to be destroyed, as these adds will split up and start attacking the stone pillars. When the adds spawn, however, they'll all be bunched up, so it's worth getting some AoE attacks ready. Keep fighting and Garuda will vanish and reappear again in the middle of the room. She should teleport to the opposite side for another Mistral Song, but DPS was too high in every attempt I did of this, even as a healer, so look out for the middle. Your group will probably think you'll need to line of sight her again using the stone pillars, but the first time she teleports to the middle, she just summon Razor Plumes around the edges of the room. Destroy these new adds and move back to the boss. After a few more hits, she'll vanish again and reappear in the middle for a second time. This time, however, she'll cast her wipe move, Aerial Blast. This move deals damage based upon the health of the stone pillars, which is why we are trying to protect them. You can, however, reduce the damage you take from this attack by hiding behind a surviving stone pillar and breaking line of sight. When cast, all surviving stone pillars will break completely and phase 2 will begin. Shortly afterwards, Garuda will cover the outer area of the arena with AoE, forcing you into a smaller combat zone. Tanks will still need to make sure they face her away from the group and continue watching out for slipstreams. Not much else happens in this phase, but if Garuda vanishes and reappears, she'll cast Mistral Song in the direction she's facing. Just move out of her way when she appears to avoid the damage. Overall, none of Garuda's attacks are that horrible, but getting hit by them repeatedly can put a strain on your healer, especially if it's their first time, so do your best to avoid them. Anyway, keep nuking and she go down. And that's the Howling Eye Normal. If you've enjoyed the guide, then let me know, and if there are any other guides or perspectives you'd like to see, then check out my channel or feel free to ask me to create one. Thank you for watching, and good luck.